Welcome back to Broken Compass. We have finally made it to Bali, Indonesia. We are down here on the south end of the island in Uluwatu. We just returned from the seafood market, and wait till you see this place. It is unbelievable. Came back with some squid, some crabs, some prawns, and that's about all we could carry for the day on our motorcycles. But today we're not going to be rigging a squid for swordfish. Unfortunately, we're going to be doing something better. I'm going to show you how to prep one to be barbecued. So let's get into it. Look at the size of these hammers we found over there, baby. That is a squid. I wouldn't call it a giant squid, but it's a big one. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is go ahead and start rinsing it off and get most of the ink off the squid and out of the squid. Afterwards, you want to reach up inside of the mantle as far as you can and rip his head and his tentacles from the inside of the mantle. And the squid sack the ink sac will come with it. Just like so. And typically I like to do the bottom half of the squid first. Here is basically the backbone of the squid. It's, I don't know, it kind of feels like plastic. So after you have the ink sac pulled out, you want to take the bottom, the squid's head, reach underneath the tentacles, and this here is his mouth. They call it the beak. And you can push back on it and squeeze it right out. Just like that. And then just cut him behind the eyes. And there you have perfectly good tentacles ready for the grill or the Barbie. This is the other inside of the mantle. It's basically trash. It's full of cartilage and ink sacs still left inside of there. That can be trash as well. Okay, we'll sit this inside the water bowl for now and let it try to squeeze out all the remaining ink inside. And then we will go back to the mantle. Once he's all rinsed out and you get the majority of the ink out of it, some will be left between the meat and the skin of the squid. But what's interesting, you notice this dark black spot here on the squid. Apparently it looks like the squid are so big when they catch them, they have to gaff them. So when they puncture the squid with the gaff, it releases ink throughout his meat and throughout his body. But anyways, once you have the squid on your board, you want to make a very fine slice across the top of his belly so that you do not go through the meat, just the skin. And once you have him sliced, it's quite simple. The skin just starts to peel off. And just peel it to his wing. And it comes off just like that. Work the other side. You can slide your finger underneath it and push it along. And it rips right off. Now for the wing, it's a little bit harder to get it started because I try to not use the knife on the wing so that the squid is wholer when you go to prepare it, and you can cut it whichever way you want. But you see now, since the skin is gone, the ink is starting to come back out. Now we're just going to go ahead and cut the wing right along the edge of the mantle. One wing 2 wings. Now, flip the squid back over and start working the top of his skin off. Once you get your finger under it, just like the bottom, it rips right off. And then again, more of the ink from the squid is starting to be released between the skin membrane and the meat of the squid. And where the wing attaches to the mantle, there's also a hard piece of cartilage there. You just might as well go ahead and throw that away. It's not very good to eat. And then you work the other side. Other piece of cartilage. And then you can start pulling the rest of the skin off. You can kind of push down and apply pressure and it'll start to roll. Go ahead and give her a rinse. We jump back here to the sink real quick. It's good to try to keep your board clean so you're not continuing to ink the meat as you are rinsing them. Keep pulling and pulling and pulling. You want to make sure you get it as clean as possible. This doesn't taste too good if you accidentally leave some on when you cook them, because then you'll just cook the skin to the meat. Then at the bottom, I just like to go ahead and slice it very little bit off the tip, off the bottom of the mantle. And then you can work this out as much as you can. You know, you might not get all of this ink out, and it's fine. If you're that particular about it, you can just go ahead and cut the meat around the ring of the ink. Because if you see what just happened, I tore it. You start pulling at it too much, you're gonna rip the meat and the presentation of the squid won't be as nice. And there you have it. A fully skinned and ready to eat giant squid. Go ahead and grab a bag for him. We bought too many, so we're gonna go ahead and freeze a couple for the rest of the week. And then back to the tentacles. Do the same. Start working as much of the skin off as you can. This is not, the skin on the tentacles is not as tough or thick as on the mantle. So I typically don't get all of it down to the tip of his tentacles. It's not gonna hurt you. Most of the time when you get calamari in a restaurant, it's a very small squid and they don't even do any of this. Just keep pulling as much as you want off until you have it how you like it. And that's gonna be good enough for the girls we date. All right, now back to the wing. Just start pulling. There you go. Once you get the finger under it, it just starts working itself off. Like that. Get the underside. And then on the tip of the wing, the outside of the wing, I like to just go ahead and trim the edge very close to the outside, just to get the edge of, the outside edge of the wing skin off of the rest of the meat. This much meat is negligible. It's not gonna, you're not wasting it. And that is that. Go ahead and give it another rinse. Into the bag. And then one last wing. Start your peel. Get a little fingernail action in there if you need to. I like to keep a little squid scent under my fingernails for later at dinner. And then like so. Outside edge trim. Little bit more. Just about got her. One more side. Just gonna go ahead and scrape this. She's being a little difficult as usual. And that's it. Go ahead and give it another rinse. Into the bag. And then this is what we call a Cajun vacuum seal. Go ahead and stick the whole bag all the way up to the Ziploc in the water. And when you submerge the bag, it'll push the air out the top. And then you seal as you're pushing down into the water. And then it'll seal your bag nice and tight if you're not with a vacuum sealer, so you don't get any freezer burn. All right, that's about it. Good luck doing your squid and Stay tuned when we start cooking them.